Well, hello everybody. Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerStore.com and PressureWashingSchool.com, located right here in the Houston, Texas area. We're in Porter, right up off of 59 and North Park area in Porter, Texas is actually where we're located. So if you're ever in the area, hey, stop on in, chat with us, talk to us. We'll be glad to help you with any of your pressure washing or soft washing equipment needs that you need. And just be glad to chat with you and answer any questions you may have as well. We're here for the pressure washing contractor, the guy or the gal that is starting a business or has a business going. We're not necessarily here for the homeowners. We'll try to answer some of y'all's questions if we can, but we're really here to help guys that are in the business and help them support their families, their communities, things of that nature. So again, we're right here in the Kingwood, Porter, Texas area, right off of North Park in the Houston, Texas area. Hey, we just got done with our July training yesterday. Our next one is coming up August 9th. That's hands-on training where we do it right here in the training center. Both hands-on training so that you can get used to the equipment and use the equipment that we use on a daily basis. And then we have the classroom training that follows that. We provide lunch. And so after hands-on, we have some lunch right here in the training center. And then we get into and do a deep dive training classroom session on house washing, roof cleaning, concrete and hardscape cleaning, and property protection. So if you're interested in that, coming up August 9th, just go to PressureWashingSchool.com. You can sign up there. Or if you have any questions, you can email me at pressurecleaningschool@gmail.com. All right, guys, so one of the most common questions I get from new students and well as folks that call us here at the store or at the school is, what does the unloader valve do on a pressure washer? And so I kind of just wanted to break it down and try to put this in pretty simple, basic terms. In fact, I had a guy on YouTube the other week or so ago ask to do kind of an in-depth how to max water flow, what it does, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not too much of an in-depth guy. I like things explained basic, simple, so I can understand. So that's what I'm going to attempt to do. But these little guys right here, these are unloader valves. And so I want you to think of it as like it's kind of like a traffic cop for your water flow. And these unloaders all come in different sizes, different colors, different shapes, different flow ratings, different PSI ratings. This is the Green Spring, which is one that I've used for many years. This one, if I remember correctly, is like 21 gallons per minute. As a matter of fact, it'll tell us on here, 21 gallons a minute. 4,050 PSI. This is the BRT 100. It's rated for 26.4, 5,075 PSI. This is a BRT 3, which is for smaller units, and so it's like 4,000 PSI, 10 gallon per minute, 4,500 PSI, 10 gallon per minute. But anyway, tons and tons of choices out there. We only carry 3 or 4 different ones. There's also, these are called pressure trap unloaders, by the way. I know a popular one also is the flow rated unloaders, ZK1, ZK7, stuff like that. I use those. Tried using them many years ago and just hated them. So I've just always used pressure trap unloaders. I'm used to them. They work great. I just didn't like some of the effects that the flow unloaders caused or provided or whatever. But anyway, we look at your unloader as kind of like a traffic flow. It's basically controlling the flow of your water and trying to help you not build up too much pressure in your pump. Here's an unloader setup that you see on a 5 gallon per minute skid mount machine. And this would be pretty much the same thing you would have maybe on a portable, like a 4 or 5 gallon per minute machine. But basically what happens is when you pull your trigger, water, of course, is going to come out of your gun. And when you release the trigger, then on this setup, you have a bypass hose loop. And so your water recirculates through this. It comes in here at the water inlet, and when you squeeze the trigger, it comes down your hose and out your gun. And when you let off the trigger, the water is recirculating, so it's still pushing water in, it's recirculating and going through the pump and just kind of recirculates and helps not to build up too much pressure in your pump. So what it's doing is it's basically, when you let off the trigger, it's diverting the water back through this loop. The only issue with when you have systems like this where you have what's called the bypass loop, you have to make sure that you're still pulling your trigger about every 45 seconds to a minimum to relieve some of the pressure so that your pump doesn't overheat and builds up too much pressure, because in effect the water doesn't have anywhere to go, and as it builds up more and more water, then it can create problems in the pump and blow the seals and all that kind of stuff. So that's the job of the unloader in this type of setup where you have a bypass loop, is it's directing the flow of the water through that loop. So basically, if your pressure washer did not have an unloader, or if your unloader isn't working right, your pump will stay under pressure, and again, it eventually will overheat or blow the seals. And again, if you don't pull your trigger after that 45-second to 1 minute mark and you let it continue to go, when you have a loop system like a bypass loop, you can create problems and overheating and blow the seals as well. Now, one of the things you can do if you have your pressure washer set up for feeding off of a tank, like I do here, this is an 8 gallon per minute and the water is fed to it off the tank. The water tank is back behind there. On these unloaders, there will be a hole here on either side of the unloader. Usually there's two, and it's labeled bypass. And so this bypass allows me to run this hose back to my tank, and the hose goes through the bulkhead, and then it's just on the other side of the bulkhead, there's nothing there. But whenever I let off the trigger, instead of having a loop, then the water is being recirculated and going back to the pump. So the water comes in, and when I let off the trigger, the water just recirculates back to the pump. So now I don't have to necessarily squeeze my trigger every 45 seconds to a minute. I can be off the trigger for a little bit, a few minutes, and I've done it for sometimes 7 minutes, 10 minutes, or whatever, while I go to the truck and then end up talking to a customer that's walking down the street, or a customer comes out of the house, or whatever. So instead of having a loop, I have it bypassed back to the tank. So again, the unloader is directing the water back through the tank, and it continues to pull the water up through the hose and then just back to the tank. In this instant, this is my 4 gallon per minute machine. We use this quite a bit at the school, and I also use it for odd jobs around my house, or little small jobs. I got to run out and clean something real quick. Sometimes I'll throw this in the back of my truck if I don't have my skid system in the back of the truck and don't want to load it. I'll just throw this back in there. But here's that same unloader that I showed you earlier on that skid system, and we took out the loop bypass and made it to where we just kind of bypass it. We have a little hose here that PVC pipe is just kind of weight it down. But so what happened here is we plugged where the hose was coming out into the loop up to the unloader, and then we just put on a brass 90 and connected 3/8 hose to it. So now on the machine, when I let go of the trigger, the water is just recirculating and coming out of this hose. And because this machine is a belt drive, you can see the big belt guard there. Belt drives will create a vacuum and will suck water. So I can run this machine. I think I'm kind of getting away from the purpose of unloaders, but anyway, I can run this machine off of a tank just like I did the 8-gallon per minute machine. It will suck the water from a tank, so it can be gravity fed, or I can force feed it with a garden hose. Either way, however I want to do it, I can do that. Now with direct drives, you're not going to have much success. I've never had success with direct drive machines feeding from a tank. Some people will say you can do it, but my recommendation always is, if you're going to feed off of a tank, then you need to have a belt drive machine. It's just going to be so much better and work better, and because it creates that vacuum and will pull the water, as well as it being gravity fed by the tank. So just to close this out, guys, and give you a few tips, you need to make sure you're using the right nozzle size. If you're using too small of a nozzle, that can create too much back pressure and also bad flow. When you're using the right size nozzle, then the unloader can do its job and you'll also get full cleaning power. If your machine is one of those that's set up for the loop, like I showed earlier, where it just loops from the unloader back through the pump, then just make sure you're not letting it sit and bypass too long, 45 seconds to a minute. Another tip you could do is, if you're using a ball valve, you could take the ball valve, open it, and just lay it on the ground, and then it's just recirculating that way. It would act kind of like a bypass loop. But make sure that if you have that closed loop or that loop system to where it's just continually going through the pump, make sure that you're not staying off your trigger. Squeeze that trigger at least every 45 seconds to a minute at most. The unloader, it can be adjusted, and as a matter of fact, sometimes, most of the time, they're pretty much factory set when they come on a machine. But if you're buying a new unloader, you need to always check it, and check it with a pressure gauge. It's very important, but a lot of people will think that tightening the unloader all the way gives you more pressure, but that can actually choke off your flow and it can strain the pump. So you need to make sure you're setting it enough to get the pressure that you need with steady water flow, because of course more water flow means faster cleaning. And when you're setting the unloader and you're using your pressure gauge, everybody should have one of these. Make sure that you're using the right size colored tip to set that unloader. So if you got a 4-gallon per minute machine, you don't want to be using an 8-gallon per minute tip or a 5-gallon per minute. You want to use a 4-gallon per minute. Like the green or the yellow nozzle is usually what I use when I'm setting it. As a matter of fact, I'll do a few video here soon on how to properly set the unloader. All right, I hope this has been helpful for y'all and answered some questions. I was trying to keep it as basic as I possibly can, because that's how I like things. But anyway, yeah, I hope it's been helpful. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and then hit that bell. That's a notification to where you'll get notifications every time I come out with a video that could possibly be educational or help you in some way. hit that like button, and then leave me a comment or a question down below if I can help you. I try to answer questions as quick as I possibly can. Lately, I haven't been getting email notifications that somebody has commented, and I don't know why. Trying to figure that out, so I'm having to go back into YouTube and check the comments, but I try to get to them as quick as I possibly can. Same thing here at the store. If you call us and have a question, I'm not available. My wife's going to take a message, and I promise you I'm going to call you back just as quick as I possibly can. We're here to help you, not just to sell you stuff. We like to do that as well, but we also want to help people be successful, and above all, help them prevent from damaging property. So yeah, anything we can do to help you, feel free to let us know. At the store, you can contact us at info@DougRuckerStore.com. You can email us there or call or text 281-612-1223. Any questions about the school, training opportunities that we offer, then you can hit us up at pressurewashingschool.com, use the contact form, or you can email me, pressurecleaningschool@gmail.com. Hey, y'all have a very, very blessed day.